Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissick and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissick.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
And hey, Dana, I'm so excited. I think you and I only talked a few days ago, so I'm not even going to dare ask what you got going new because it's probably some of the same old stuff, right?
It's probably the same. It's not near as exciting as our guest today. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm super excited, super pumped to share our guest with our audience today. This is a longtime friend of mine and someone that I think our audience will absolutely love and gain so many nuggets from. So Monica Reynolds, if you would kind of give us a brief intro of you in the real estate world, and for those that don't know you, give us the highlights. You were born and then what happened?
I was born and I didn't grow up to be a real estate agent. That was not on my radar. I was born in Texas and here I am again. And so being born, and now I'm VP of Maps, working directly with Gary on Maps. There you go.
So for
in
people that don't, for everybody that doesn't know, what's Maps?
Oh, a lot of people don't know that. So it's Mega Achievement Productivity Systems. It's the coaching company with Keller Williams. And we're the largest coaching company in the world. And we have the best clients and the best coaches, and we got a great value proposition. So we'll get into that.
Absolutely. And I have one of those great coaches, so I believe you.
Me too.
Yeah. Good. So one of the things, Linda, I was thinking about when doing this call with you, it must have been in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. I called you and I said, so we were friends from the RE/MAX world, I guess, right?
No, I was never at RE/MAX. I was thinking of this last night. I don't even know how you got my name to call me, because the only thing I can think of is maybe Mike Ferry's organization, but I don't know.
Yeah, Mike Ferry, Howard Britton, that sort of thing.
Yes,
anyway,
okay.
I called you to come out to do an event with me that I was doing at the time called Feminine Force in Real Estate. And prior to that, we had talked on the phone, but we'd met at a mastermind. I met you before I invited you out. And I remember one of the phone calls that I had, and I think, I give you a lot of credit for this, Linda. You said to me that you were going to step back out of the business and that you were going to build this team. And I'm going, well, how's that going to work? They're going to expect to see you, Linda, on a listing presentation. Do you remember that? And I'm going,
Absolutely.
Well, I like the thinking. It's going to take years to get that done. Well, you did that pretty quickly. You got that done right away. And anyway, so you came out to this event in Newport Beach, and I had Ivana Trump there, and I had Susan Powder, and Mark Victor Hansen. He was at one of them, maybe not that one. And I remember, saying to you, hey, I've got this gal that's coming. She's going to be on stage too. She's the only CEO of a real estate franchise, Mo Anderson, with Keller Williams. And you went, what? Huh? Who? And I went, and now looking back, so, you lose these, then what the great thing was is, and I said to you, I go, well, I guess I'm with Keller Williams now. I've only been asked a million times, and 10 years ago I joined finally, and it was like, oh, like everybody on this call, why didn't I do this sooner? And I said to you, I guess, well, I'm coming in late to the party, and you said, you're coming to the party, and it's easy now because everybody knows Keller Williams, and it was always Keller who, Keller what.
Yeah. And it's never too late for anything for the right people, right?
No, yeah, and so in the early 80s, late 70s, I was selling real estate in Fargo, North Dakota. Hired my first assistant. Got thrown out of Coldwell Banker because I hired an assistant. They didn't know where she's going to sit, and God forbid if she answered the phone and said something, they were afraid. So I got tossed out. Well, I left in the middle of the night, but I knew it was coming, and started my own company then. But I was doing more business than all of their agents collectively. They'd come in and literally read the Fargo Forum, the newspaper, every day. And I'm going, who has time to read the newspaper? Come on. And then from there, I met an individual from California, and we decided to partner up, and we were doing about, in the early 90s, 300, 300 to 400 transactions. And I moved to California because my average sales price in Fargo was $65,000. That's a used car in California. So then my average sales price got up to 300, 400,000 was an average house in Long Beach at the time. So I thought that was good. Then I became a coach for the Mike Ferry organization for a long time, worked in the software business, and then ended up running a 7th level team. And I took all the listings and I would go on 175 appointments, take 150 listings for about 5 years in a row, ran that team. The rainmaker, who never came into the office ever, any of the 7 years I did it, netted $1 million. So I know how to build a 7th level team where the rainmaker stays away and nets $1 million.
Wow.
And so I had a really, really strong, good, talented team. And then I decided to step way back out of that. I only promised them 2 years. I lasted 7. And then last July, Gary and I had a conversation, and I agreed to take on MAPS and build it to be the #1 coaching company in the world with the best training and the best coaches and the best clients. And so I'm pretty excited. It's been a fun run.
Awesome. Well, a couple of things you said, Monica, that I want to point out, because Dana and I talk about this a lot on our podcast, and that is who you determine wealth for matters. I always say there's 3 very important relationships. Your master, because we didn't all create ourselves. Your mate, because hopefully if you do a good job, it'll be a great relationship and it'll last a long time. And then the third one is who you determine wealth for. And then I say / who determines wealth for you. And I love this because I think we've all had an experience with a leader that didn't believe or think as big as we think. And sometimes agents don't realize how important that is. You know, if you've got someone who's your leader that's supposed to be leading you, and they can't even believe in the fact that you can do what you say you want to do, then that's a pretty rough start in the beginning.
Yeah, and in the 90s, I wrote 2 books on hiring a team assistant. They're still on Amazon. Don't buy them. MAPS models are so much better. Do not buy them. But they're still out there for the RE/MAX agents who don't have training, I guess. And so what I want to share with you on that, too, one of my lessons is that I've made some mistakes and opportunities. Gary asked me to be the first person to run MAPS. And I said, no. And at the time, I was doing pretty well and I was on the road as a speaker and selling real estate, and I was doing really well for the economy. And in the 90s, too, in the late 90s and early 2000s, the economy, there was some shaky stuff going on. And then Mo Anderson, who's one of my dearest friends and my travel buddy, her first word to me when I walked into Mega Camp, her first words to me, Linda, was, "Darling, do you remember when I offered you California?"
Oh, that hurts.
And I said I was too busy. So I guess what I'm saying is I've made a lot of mistakes, and I have an attitude to pass the path. And yet I've noticed that I wasn't in my early years. I'm a very risk taker now. My early years, I didn't have a coach to help me see that I had the potential to do those things. So when I look back at my mistakes, I say, I really didn't have anyone in my corner.
To your defense, and I think, we have a lot of people that we've approached. Dana and I do it full time all the time, trying to get people to join and change what we think change their life forever. But it takes courage to walk through those. And I believe a talented person like you will always have an opportunity. It just looks different than the one you got offered that was scary and you didn't want to walk through, or you didn't, you were too busy. And by the way, a lot of realtors are too busy to they're walking over dollars to get to dimes. They're so busy on the day-to-day stuff, they're missing opportunities.
And yet, in all honesty, I didn't have what I call the chops to build a coaching company. Diana Kokoska was the right person to build a coaching company. She built the rocket. I may be the new fuel now that's taking it to the next level. And I give her the credit for that. She built a big, big company.
What a great way to look at that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I honor what she built. And then, it's kind of like when I was going out to meet Gary in July, and I knew what this was going to happen. I was going to end up taking this job, and it was like, oh man, because when he calls, you know what it's like, Linda, when he calls, he says, come, you know,
Yep.
it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and so we had a great meeting, and he was on the same page I am, and that is, I've coached more people than any coach in the country, based on the hours of coaching that I have, and I said to him, I said, you know, you built an unbelievable real estate company. And I said, I know what it's going to take MAPS to the next level. I know what a coach wants, and I know what the client is not getting. And he says back to me, well, Monica, I want to zero out coaching. And I'm thinking to myself, well, there went all the profit. Who's going to get paid here, what, where, right? What, zero out coaching? It's not going to cost. I went, okay, tell me how we do that. And he said, well, we're going to provide the training for their whole team. So interesting, today I met with a team who's doing about 550 transactions from Houston. They came up, and I'm talking to them here in my office, and one of the things that came up is I said, what if we provided free training for your team? Because their team is doubling and tripling. They're going to be really leveraged out. And I said, we've got 10 training modules every single week, 10 hours of training. We've started the first 6 hours last week. We've got 6 hours this week. So it's on hiring, it's on lead generation, it's on buyers, it's on sellers, it's on profit and loss, it's on marketing, it's on ISA, OSAs, every subject we've covered. By July, we will have 40 live training every single month, 10 a week. Right now, we've got one every single day at 1 o'clock. So they really leaned in, Linda, when they said, you mean you do training for admin and this is free and buyer agents? I said, yeah, bring them on. I mean, we have other group calls that complement this, yet we want your team to have a place to go at 1 o'clock every day Central Time to be trained. And so that was Gary's idea. And so that was really great. So our value proposition with MAPS right now, which is exciting for me because I love to build. I'm a builder. And so one of the things that I came in, I said, let's build a value proposition. Let's have value like no other coaching company has. And basically, Gary was on board. He's on board. He does a live stream with me next week. And we do all these different trainings. Plus, we've got spring mastermind and fall mastermind. We've got really great speakers coming. I can't announce them yet because the contracts aren't done yet. The ink's not dried. But it's a pretty exciting time. It's a really exciting time for MAPS.
Absolutely. I'm super excited. I can't wait to share with some of the top agents that hear our podcast too about some of the opportunities that are coming down the pipeline that are not yet released. So I want to go back to something you said, because I think, you know, leverage is the number one issue that most top agents have. And yet you are someone that joined someone else's team, and you became the person that took over that whole team, ran it for 7 years. That person really didn't have to do a whole lot because you were doing it all. I mean, most agents see hiring an administrative or a process or a systems person as like a liability, instead of saying, hey, if I do this right, I could have a diamond in the rough that absolutely takes my team to a higher level than I ever could.
Yeah, you know, when I was speaking to this individual, and I was coaching him at the time from the Mike Ferry organization, I coached him for about 7 years. He says, I have this new opportunity with Keller Williams, and I really want you to come run my team. And I thought, I am not getting back into real estate. Well, I got hired to go run the team, hire, train, build it out, etc. And he wants to net $1 million. He never netted $1 million before, but that's what he wanted to do. Well, so there are a few pitfalls. So when I got there, he had 2 agents doing listings, and I went on my first day on the job, I decided to go on the presentation with them. And I went back and I called this individual, and the rainmaker, and I said, I have to go on these listing presentations. I got to pick up this ball. I got to train these guys better. So what happened and then I went out on all the listing presentations for 4 out of the 7 years. I trained a guy who was better than me, And yet he went on 1,000 listing presentations with me. We counted them up.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's better than me. And after 4 years, I went, okay, I'm done. I had been out of the field as a listing agent. So Linda, I kind of had fun going there. It was like, man, these are live role plays. This is cool. And I've been role playing for like 7 years or 10 years on the phone, and I said, okay, so we're going to role play this, are we? Okay, let's go. And so that was pretty fun. And yet then I stepped back into running the business. And the thing that I think is really critical is that there's always somebody better than you.
Mm.
And there's talent always in front of you. Sometimes it's around the corner. And, I'm a great leverager. I mean, people that work with me now, the only thing I can't leverage is eating, which I'm good with that, or going to the bathroom. Pretty much I leverage everything else because they're so much more talented at me than some of the things that I do. I think don't be afraid to leverage, and don't be afraid to look for that person, and don't be afraid to look for a top producer to come in with your business. I think we all look at, let's go hire someone and then bring them up. No, just go get somebody great and bring them in and figure that out, right?
We ain't got time for all that.
Exactly.
Monica, I remember back when I was a team leader and I would, bring other agents into the company, and they would either say, I know I need to hire an admin, but I don't even know what to do with them when I get one. And I used to say, well, if you're with us, we'll put you in this thing called the perfect real estate assistant. And that was our answer for everything, was just like, let's put you into the perfect real estate assistant. But, I was thinking, and we have a lot of listeners that are not with Keller Williams currently. And I feel like that's kind of a common trend amongst agents. They want to hire an admin. They know that they need to hire an admin, but then they're like, okay, well, once I hire one, what the heck am I going to do with them? Because I don't have the personality to train them, or I know I need help, but I don't even know how to tell somebody what help I need. So what would you say to somebody that may be in those shoes?
Well, first of all, understand what your why is. Why do you need an admin? For me, is a necessity. I had 3 little kids. I was a single mom, and the only way we did dinner, we had the 3 Ds. It's drive to it, deliver it, or don't do it. And so, that was a motto in my house. I walk in at night and go, what are we doing? They go, driving to it. And I go, okay, good, let's get in the car, let's go. And so don't do it with cereal or pancakes or something like that.
We call that Brenner,
Monica.
We call that Brenner, breakfast for dinner.
Brenner, that's a good one. I like that too. I'll remember that one. So one of the things, you have to know your why. Mine was a necessity to grow my business and get really clear on what you're good at and not be a control monster. Mm-hmm. So I'm a control monster, and like most agents on this call, and yet I know that sometimes people can do it better than me. And so it was a struggle when I hired my first assistant, but she was great. She was an ex-kindergarten teacher. Who better to talk to my buyers and sellers than on a low level, right? Now sit here, don't squirm, drink some water. It was great. Sign the contract. And so it was great because she was so good. I learned to trust really quickly. But going back to your question, you got to understand your why. Number 2, before you hire an assistant, make sure that you have the budget for that person. So I'm a big believer in a three-month reserve account for your business, including the assistant's payroll. That way you won't be out of sorts trying to steal from Peter to pay Paul, and you brought on a new hire. Don't do that. Have the money. Mm-hmm. And then if you're not with Keller Williams, at least do the DISC process. And you're looking, in my opinion, you're looking for a C for a transaction coordinator, a high C. And if you're a listing manager, they can be an SC and an SD. I'm not the person that wants to hang out too much with an I. I like the versatility. I teach people how to be versatile. It's like the agent that became better than me and any agent I know as far as taking listings. He's a C, but the second that the door opens, he's a DI. Mm-hmm. So he's learned that versatility. So you can teach versatility.
What are you, Monica?
The other thing.
What are you?
Well, I'm I'm a 99D. I'm a triple D.
And what's your
But
I?
interesting, my I and S are really high too. And when I get nervous or frustrated or worried, I become a high C really fast. Mm-hmm. That's why I can write checklists and all the trainings that I do. My business would start to implode on some part, and I just hunker down and write a checklist, and then it got better.
Awesome. That's great.
So, and then looking at that, to answer your question though, back to that too, is that, you know, obviously if you're with Keller Williams, the KPA, and doing the model match or the job fit match, and making sure that you don't blur the lines. If they say they're not going to be if the match says it's not a great TC, don't make them into a TC and try to fix it. They're not a match. Just believe it most of the time. Mm-hmm. The other thing, as far as training goes, let me give you a couple of tidbits. Obviously, the perfect real estate assistant would be great with Keller Williams. And now, here's the thing. If I'm going to train you as my new assistant, I'm going to show you something that we do as far as like cropping a photo or something. Like I would know how to do that, never in a million years. But let's say that I did as an agent, or I was going to show you how to input a listing. Make sure that you have your cell phone video going, okay? Yeah. Videotape all that and create a training library, because in the old days, you tell them once and then you got to go back and tell it again and tell it again. And so I said, okay, no more of that now. We're going to create a YouTube library, private one for our team to go back and look at these different things, screenshots on things and how to enter this and how to do that, and how to order this and that. It's all there. So once you're doing any training or answering any questions, like if your buyer agent comes up to you and has a question about a negotiating item, say, hold up your phone. Let's record this and put it on our training library. Because they're all going to be the same questions at some point, right? So build a huge, and there's your value proposition, Linda, when you're bringing on a new team member. You say, we have 432 training items in our training library. You know, you will always be able to find answers there. So once you do that, then there's I think it came from John Maxwell, where I would show them how to do it, and they'd sit there and take notes. The next time then they would do it, and I would watch them, and they would work off of their notes. And if they missed a step, then they didn't have something in their notes. They missed something. And then the third time is that they do it, you check their work later. So that process, you can stay on step number one several times to show them if it's complicated. Step number two, you can watch them a couple of times. So it's just not like one and done. So you've got to be flexible in training. And the key thing, though, is you've got to get them into some training, the admin, the buyer agent. It's great to hear from you, but they should be in some sort of training. They need to hear from a third party so that it's kind of like the big picture and it sinks in. That would be my opinion on how to get them up and running.
That's great.
That's super helpful. Yeah, love that.
You want to go with number 2, Dana, what you had?
Yeah, because that kind of walks right into it. So what would you say are the top 3 qualities that you would look for in a really good assistant or director of operations?
Number 1 is flexibility. And I don't mean that they can do the splits, right? It's flexibility into, you know me, I'm humorous, right? So I think when flexibility, when that, because off the top of my head, it's flexibility, because there's so many rigid people and rigid director of operations that they're great, they're awesome, but they're too rigid that you have to be able to go, okay, left turn, right turn, okay, stop, we're just changing everything all over again. So a lot of people can't keep up in real estate with all the changes and like command and everything. So they've got to have tremendous flexibility. So number 2, I think you got to have a sense of humor.
Do you think flexibility is a trained skill, or they bring that already to the table?
I think most cases you want it brought to the table. It's tough to train that one. Do you agree, Linda?
Absolutely.
I think if you're going to be non-flexible, it's like being married to someone whose sock drawer is perfect. Not that ever happened to me, but
The sock drawer or the marriage?
Oh God. Sock drawer and the marriage gone.
We should have had you on.
Now you should see my sock drawer. Whatever. But going back to that, the other thing that I think of, and I'm going to give you some generalities. Obviously, they've got to be highly skillful.
Right.
They've got to have a computer brain. I don't have one, not going to get one. I got people, not going to get one. But they have to have that computer brain because that's our world.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing I'm looking for is a good sense of humor and a personality.
Mm-hmm.
The director of operations and your admin are the heartbeat and the culture of your team. And you can't have somebody who is shy, stiff, not friendly. I mean, this represents you, your team, your heartbeat. This is who you are. And so that person has to understand how to be flexible and have personality when they need to. So I can hire a high C and teach them personality. I can role play that till the cows come home and they get it finally. And I go, no, that's not how to answer the phone. Do it again. Okay. Act like you just won $1 million. In fact, here's $1 million. Act like you just got that. Now pick up the phone and answer it. So I can teach that. The other thing that I'm looking for too is that they want to be a leader. So, when you first hire, sometimes that admin can turn out to be your lead admin, who turns out to be your DO.
Mm-hmm.
And I rarely see an admin turn into a buyer agent or a listing specialist. And people say all the time, well, that's where they should go next. I go, no, they shouldn't. Nope. Yeah. And there's another trait that I look for too that I think is important is that they get the culture, they get you. They get the systems. They're always working to make the systems better, constant, never-ending improvement, CANI, from the Tony Robbins world, CANI, constant, never-ending improvement. And I'm a firm believer that that's how they wake up every day, is to look how to improve, but also keeper of the culture and keeper of the rainmaker's vision. And so how I treat customers may not be how John, whatever down the road here treats customers. How we treat our clients, how we work with each other. I want that kept by that person. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this one's totally non-related to real estate, and I'm just wondering, what's it like to work with GK every day?
Well, the Gary Keller, he's an interesting guy, that's for sure. I've tried to avoid it over the years. Yep, I did. It's like he's 10 steps ahead of you, which is really annoying to me sometimes. And it's like, why didn't I think of that? Or how can he figure that out so fast? Mm-hmm. And how he zeroes in into what you need to talk about. Like, you can't get in the weeds with Gary on anything. He gets real annoyed in the weeds. So I've had, a monthly SOC meeting all day long, and we call that State of the Company of Maps. And I get pretty nervous before those. And then this last one, it was great. We went through everything. The thing that I think what I would say to people is that there are only 2,007 billionaires in the entire world. Did you know that, Linda McKissick?
No, I did not know that.
Well, I thought I'd bring that little tidbit to you.
Wow.
And who gets to talk to a billionaire anytime they want? I do, right?
That's
and
awesome.
if you're a Keller Williams agent, you get exposed to how he's thinking and how he's moving and what we're doing, and a family reunion and Simon Sinek coming and all of that. It's going to be so fun. And so he's one of 2,000 billionaires in the world. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at that, and then we are attached to that as Keller Williams agents, mm-hmm. and we're attached to that kind of thinking. So that's a really great question you asked, because it's just a privilege to be exposed to that and to see how he operates. The guy is a working machine like I've never seen. So he had what we call the regional director meeting here, and Linda, you were there, and he had 2 really big recruiting appointments after that.
Yeah.
So this was a grueling meeting with all the regional directors, and very intense, I'd say. and then he leaves there, and he's recruiting all the time. He's recruiting. you know, and it's just constant recruiting that he's doing. I mean, he's in the business all the time, building it, growing. He has all these other different companies. He's got a bagel shop, you know, he's got, and you hear about these things and you just go, wow, you know, he's got so much that he's got going on. And yet, so I always think I'm on overwhelm, and then I think of all the stuff that he's juggling. And he's just an impressive, brilliant mind. And look what he's done to the real estate industry. I mean, who pays for profit share, Linda, right? I mean, who in the country? There's no company of any worth at this point that can match what we're doing and the money that's paid out every month. I mean, who builds a company that has very specific models and systems? He rewrote all of, you know, MREA, the second edition's coming out, and we wrote what's called MAPS Models with Gary. And it's a 3-day course on all the models and leadership models. And all the leadership models are all brand new that he just wrote with Matt Teeter on our team at MAPS. And so there's no other real estate franchise leader that is constantly writing and building systems. So when you ask that question, it's a really good question. I mean, yeah, it's pretty phenomenal, and it's pretty exciting, and it's dangerous. That's all I gotta say.
Well,
you never know if you're gonna get your head lopped off.
It's one of those things from what you learn and I know you're highly paid, but what you learn from working under someone like him will be so much more valuable than no matter how ungodly the money is you make from it. And, you know, the thing I love is I've known him for 20 something years, and I'd follow him to the moon and back because he wakes up every day and he has such a heart for the realtor, just like I do, and just like you do, and Dana does. And, you know, he just never settles. Matter of fact, I'm sitting here with his mug that he gave Jimmy, and I'm so furious because I was sitting right by Jimmy and he didn't give me the mug, he gave it to Jimmy. And it says, never give up and never settle. And I don't know of anyone who is in a big leadership role and has the kind of money like you said he has, that still wakes up every day and he lays awake at night and worries about our industry and worries about us. And so I think you're very blessed, and I think what you'll learn will be so much more valuable than all the money you're going to make from how successful you're going to continue to make all that.
Yeah, you know, he sincerely always puts the agent first, you know, and to me that's always, I'm watching that all the time. It's always about the agent, and then it's about the leadership, but it's about what's the right thing for the agent. And the other thing that I think is so interesting about him is that with Command and his dedication to Command and how excellent it is, and it's getting better and better every day, but it's great now. I mean, he interviews these top competitors from other franchises and shows what we have, and they go, oh my God, I love that, I'm coming. I mean, it's just that easy. And so with what he's doing there and rebuilding maps on so many levels on what we're doing with the training, and then he's got Command, and he's got, you know, all of the market centers and the leadership, and then he's a guitar player, and he's writing another 3 or 4 books at the same time. And then he's on webinars and live streams. Yeah, he's a remarkable man, and it's just fun to watch and see what comes out of his mouth every time I'm near him. It's fun.
Absolutely. Well, you know, something I want to circle back to, Monica, that I think is such an important message. Now, you're one of those unique people that have the ability to be a systems person. I wouldn't necessarily say admin, because some of the stuff you talk about, you don't like some of those things, but yet you have done those things, and you teach those things, and you've done sales also. And then at some point you got to be the trainer for Dave Ramsey's organization. And I've been to your beautiful homes. You have 2 amazing, well, now you have 3, one in Austin. I haven't seen that one yet, but I'm coming. The one in Arizona, and then your one in California. And I look at what you've done, and I'm thinking you could give so much hope to people who don't even have a clue what all you've actually accomplished. I mean, you're being very humble here today on the phone, on the podcast, but the truth is you've done some amazing flipping things. You've done a great job of providing great income for yourself. And so in some of those times,
I'm always that way. I've been broke a couple of times. I've gone to the bottom like a lot of people, right?
Yeah, haven't we all? But what I love is no matter what role it was in, whether you were the person that came in and took over something someone else did, or I'm sure you built the systems for Dave Ramsey's, whatever that's
I
called.
did.
I'm not sure what that's called.
Endorsed local provider. I built all the systems there for that. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, what's interesting when you say that, and I look back and go, yeah, I did that. It's all about how you handle, I think, defeat. I mean, I personally, I've had a nightmare as far as some personal stuff that went on. I've had business partners that, absolutely was not paying attention. And I loved your book, Hold. And one of the things that I always say, I will not buy a rental property unless I can drive by it. And so in the old days, I was in a partnership and they were buying property everywhere and I was just kicking in money and yeah, it was great. And then all of a sudden I realized one of the partners running the books, imagine this, took all the income coming in for the last 3 or 4 months and all the properties got thrown into foreclosure and foreclosure at the time. And I'm thinking to myself, and I was the one with the good credit that had my name on all that stuff and wasn't paying attention. So I've got horror stories like you can't even believe. I was driving a car and for this company that I worked with, my partner in Long Beach that Linda knows and will remain nameless. And I go out to the parking lot, Linda, and my car's gone. It was a brand new Cadillac. And I go, oh my God, it's been stolen. It was repossessed. He didn't pay the bill.
Yeah,
well, you notice into that partnership.
Yeah, you notice I didn't ask you about how to choose good male mates. We didn't put that one on the questions.
That partnership wasn't any good. But the thing is what you learn from that. And so I said, okay, there's life lesson number 14, life lesson number 15. And so I've got a lot of life lessons, but I'm a super positive person. It's the journey, it's the path.
Yes.
And, and how fast you pick yourself up and you go. That's it. I mean, that's all about it. Just pick yourself up and go. It's another day. And I always look at it this way, Linda. I'm above the dirt. I'm excited.
Yes.
Above the dirt.
Absolutely. Amen.
I love that you shared that though, Monica, because one of my favorite Andy Stanley quotes is, people admire you for your successes, but they connect with you through your failures and your weaknesses. And so I think just sharing those, because sometimes people don't understand. They compare their insides to other people's outsides, right? Bold law, and they have no clue some of the things that people go through.
Oh, I know. I get it. So, Linda, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What did an assistant do for you in your life when you hired your first assistant? How did that change your world?
Oh, we went up. I think for the first ones, we probably even doubled our business. And then after a while, every assistant we hired, we did another 50 transactions. And I tell you, it's one of those things that I've been sitting in front of Gary for years and years. And I always know that I've never gotten it to the full level that he has it. And another mentor that I have named Dan Sullivan, who also does this, what you said about making sure they get people and put them in their unique ability and you stay in yours. Most successful business people, that's what they're super, super good at. And I think one more caveat that Gary Keller is good at that we can tell from your conversation and from watching from the outside looking in is he's really good at making you stay on point and holding accountability around results. And so for me, I failed my way forward with assistants because I was really one of those agents that wanted to just throw them out there and they would either sink or swim. And over the years, I've learned, number one, get better at hiring the right person. And then number two, me get real clear about what they should be doing and what's the thing and bring them back to, well, what's the one thing that you need to be doing that's the most important, because there's always a million things that all of us could do. And so I think, just like you've demonstrated, you put those right people around you and you let them do their job. Yes, you might hold them accountable to doing a great job and you train them well on the front end. But once that's done, or you find them training, like your training, people could put them into your training. And then you pretty much keep them in their unique ability. You don't go back and take their job back and try to do it for them.
No. And what's interesting too, what you said is that when I came on board with Gary, I said, well, I'm not coming unless Fritz and Sajak come with me. And he goes, Fritz? And what's a Sajak? And I went, oh, okay, well, here we go. Sajag Patel is one of the very, very best coaches in the entire world. And he is very, very strategic in how he thinks and spreadsheets and all those things that I can't do. And so when we were head coaches together before I had this job, I didn't know Sajag. I didn't pay attention to Sajag. He just wasn't in my world, right? It's like I have my few buddies here. I'm going to stick with them. We got put on a task force, and I went, oh man, I'm going to be on this task force with Sajag. So I thought, well, I better organize this guy. I didn't know anything about him. I said, so Saturday at 8:00, let's have a call, and we're going to work on such and such and such and such. And he goes, okay, great, because that was our task force. So I come to the call on 8:00 Saturday. He'd done the whole thing. He had spreadsheets. He had metrics on everything. He had models built out. He had, little pie charts on everything. And I go, huh? He goes, that's all done. You want to look it over? And I go, I guess I do. And I thought to myself, I'm with that guy. On any task force that I have to do, he's going to do all the work. I'm with him. And and then I got another task force with him, and we worked. And so when I got hired in July, I'd only met really Sajag since March. Fritz is the director of training. And so this job at MAPS, I knew that I needed two really strategic people to come and take care of spreadsheets and analyzing and budget and all that. That'd be Sajag. Fritz is going to work with the coaches and build that up. And then, I'm working on customer care and customer experience. And so the three of us together, have pulled this together. So when you look at any organization, it's not about the rainmaker. It's not about the person that's going to go take the listings. It's about the culture and the team that you're building. So we're in it to win it. And, we're all excited about the positions we have, and collectively, we're building something super, super great. So you have to bring the right people in, and you can be so successful so fast when you bring the right people in.
That's the trick, so fast, because we all are running out of time every day. We have less time tomorrow than we do today, and we have less, so that's such a key point that I think a lot of realtors miss. I'm going to ask you one last question, then I want you to tell our KW people in the audience what you think they should know about MAPS or be doing about MAPS, and then anybody who's outside. So my last question is, how do you find amazing people? What do you think is the best source for finding amazing people to put around you?
I'm going to give you a bunch of different ones, but the first one, believe it or not, is you ask your team members. Who do you know? Who should we interview? And we always forget to ask them. Okay, then I'm going to give you a couple of other things. Linda, you're a listing agent. Anytime someone calls your assistant about your listing or writes an offer on a listing, any kind of interaction with that agent, your assistant should be putting a spreadsheet together. And in that spreadsheet is their name, the company, and when they call. Now, if they're Keller Williams, you're not going to go after them. But if they're not Keller Williams, why not be, looking at that as, hey, have you ever thought about being on a team? Now, let me back that up. If they're Keller Williams and they're, you're not going to poach them off another team because they get the culture. But if you say, have you ever thought about being on a team? You look up their production, it's mediocre. You think, they might want to come and join our team. So you're getting contacts from all kinds of people every day. Your admin are talking to them. Put them on a spreadsheet. And then what I share with them too, another level of that is on that spreadsheet, is that a person for our team? Is that a person for Keller Williams? Let's recruit them, put them in the downline, talking your language, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing is that I demand that the vendors, and I affectionately call them bloodsuckers, because we give them business and then they go out and do it like they should at a high level. And so I'll call a vendor and I'll say, hey, Jane, it's, what is today? Monday. On Friday, I need you to call me with 3 names. And so don't tell me you can't figure it out. You don't know anyone. You're going to call me 3 names. I'm looking for a new admin, another admin for our team. I won't use your name if you don't want me to. Tell me someone who's good. Tell me someone who's not in KW, because I'm not going to poach them. Tell me someone who's been downsized. Tell me someone who's looking for an opportunity. Give me some names. I need 3 names. So I'm not saying, could you call me? Would you think about it? I'm saying, no, I need 3 names on Friday. And if they say, well, I really can't do that, and they go, gosh, I hate to see you put our business in jeopardy. Why would you do that? So I'm not going to take it from them. They're going to go find, because the title person, the lender, they're out there talking to people all the time. They could be new in the business. They could be an agent. Who do you got? Who do I need to know? So I make sure the vendors are doing that. And then all the traditional things like Indeed.com, that works. The other thing that I think, is really great is if you go and volunteer, and some colleges will have these career nights to volunteer, come talk about real estate, you can meet a lot of people there. Okay. And so, and then believe it or not, I've gotten great people off of Craigslist. I know a lot of people have gotten away from that. That's fine, but it worked for me. Yeah. I'd do it again.
I think bottom line is look everywhere and ask everyone.
Yeah. And then here's the one that we forget to ask. So I just finished a listing presentation with you, Linda. I say, thank you for signing the listing. Linda, before I go, I wanted to ask you a question. Our business is doing so great. We are looking for great people who want a career in real estate. Who do you know right now?
Yeah.
What about you? Have you ever thought about real estate? Ask the people you just listed or you sold a house to, right?
Oh, absolutely. My CFO was, I like to call her my seller from Haiti. She drove me crazy because I couldn't sell her house. Call me every day. But you better not owe me 5 cents. She'll gnaw your leg off. So I believe inside your database could be some great people. That's a great place to start. So tell us a little bit.
Absolutely. And then Facebook, don't forget Facebook. And then here's the best one. So do you have your iPhone there, Linda? Can you pull up your contacts?
Yeah.
On your iPhone?
Yeah.
Look at go all the way to the bottom. How many contacts do you have in your iPhone?
Yeah, you don't even want to know that number. It's going to be so astronomical.
It's probably 11,000, 9,000, 10,000, I'm sure. One agent told me she had 8,000 people in her phone and she had 800 in her database. And I said, you're a knucklehead. We got to fix this.
Actually, mine must have got cleaned out pretty good. It's 33,728.
How in the world do I have you? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There you go. So what if an agent's listening to this, I've got 12 Bobs in my phone. I don't know who these Bobs are. They're all different numbers. They're all Bob, right? So I'll text him if I was an agent active right now, and I'll say, hey, Monica Reynolds with Keller Williams. Hey, Bob, how are you? I got Bob's name, and I got his phone number. He's going to text me back, and he's going to say, oh, I haven't talked to you for 10 years since our kids were doing such and such together. And I go, oh, now I know the Bob. I said, hey, give me your email address. I text him. I want to send you something that I'm doing. Hey, where do you live right now? Now I've got everything. What if you did 10 of those today? Because I bet you don't know all those people in your phone. Like, I sure don't know who's in my phone anymore.
No, that's why I text the wrong Blair all the time. She's sick.
Yeah, but so why not text a few people saying, hey, that you don't know. Hey, Bob, Monica Reynolds, Keller Williams, we're looking to hire. Do you know of anyone? I mean, engage everybody.
What the heck? Absolutely. I love that. That's great advice. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so for our listeners that are Keller Williams, what do you want to tell them or share with them about MAPS, or what kind of opportunities should they be taking advantage of?
First of all, we've upgraded the coaches at a high level. We have 30 trainings a month for our coaches. 30. That's a lot, Linda. 30.
Wow.
That these coaches can partake. We are going to have the very, very best coaches. We have so many great coaches, but everyone's going to be the best, okay, in the world. So we have 30 trainings. Right now, we have MAPS models this week, and if you're a mastery client, part of MAPS, you can come to that training for free, and it's on this week on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Doesn't matter. We do them every other month. And it's on all the models that Gary wrote, plus all the leadership models, which no one has really taken the time to really learn how to use those leadership models. So those are awesome. The other thing is that right now, like I started the call with, we have 6 one-hour live trainings every single week. We will have 40 every month beginning in July. We rolled out 6 this week, so that'll be about 24. In March, we roll out another 3 or 4. So we're gradually doing that. Family reunion, if you're a mastery client, we have a great mastery event that Friday night, and it's going to be at Gillies. We've got the whole place, and we've invited all the international agents, which is going to be fun. Bull riding. Linda will be there. She'll be doing the line dancing and sharing with everyone how to line dance, I'm sure. I'll be in the blackjack room playing blackjack. And so there'll be a lot of fun, and we look forward to you guys coming to that. The other thing that I think is important is that we've got a spring mastermind in Phoenix coming up. We have one in a fall mastermind in business planning, and we've got speakers for all of those. So we have a value proposition that no coaching company has. We will zero out coaching with all the training we can provide for you and your team and your growth. The other thing is every Wednesday I do a live Facebook for the Mastery clients and answer any coaching questions that I can. We have a live stream that Linda will be on in March that we do from 3 to 4 for KW Connect, where I interview great agents like Linda. And so we got a lot of stuff going on.
Awesome.
We also built a new system called the Profit Camp, and that's going out to all the different regions that Gary wrote with Jeannie Osnes she's our tech writer, our content writer. So we've got a lot of fun stuff that we're delivering, and we're delivering it at a high level.
Awesome. All exciting stuff. I wrote down a few of them myself to make sure I plug into that I didn't know about. So thank you for sharing that. So Dana, we're about out of time. Is there any last final thoughts or anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so, but I took a page and a half of notes. So thanks, Monica.
Awesome.
Thanks, Dana. You're so cute. Thank you so much.
So I'd like
and
to
Linda, you're wonderful as ever.
Thank you. And I want to say to our listeners today, thank you for listening. And if you want to be a guest on our podcast and have Dana and I help you with a situation, opportunity, or challenge, be sure and email us at info@everythinglife and real estate. And remember, the more details you give us, the more we're going to be able to help you with whatever your opportunity is. And the best thing you can do if you want to give us a compliment is, number one, subscribe to our podcast. And then number two, be sure and pass it on to any realtor friends that you have that may not be listening already. So, and then be sure and give us a great review. We'd love to have that in, because we can keep having wonderful people like Miss Monica Reynolds. Monica, thank you so much. I'm glad I got to talk to you. Thank you, Dana.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. Thanks, Linda. Have a great day.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.